Obviously, three-point shooting is something that you've really been working on to improve as part of your game, for the last couple of years. But when Nick went down, earlier this year, was that extra motivation for you to really emphasize your perimeter game?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I could say no, but yeah, it was. I mean, 44%. It's really near impossible to replace that. So I just really wanted to make a very little drop off coming into this year, especially with Nick out, and just make sure I can show I can shoot the ball, and I've been working on it.
Tyler, what was a halftime speech like? Because that was quite a difference from the first 20 minutes to the second 20 minutes.
Yeah, we turned the ball over, I think, 9 times in the first half. Coach was very unhappy with that, and so were we. I believe last game we only had 9 turnovers total. So he just told us we need to take care of the ball, get stops on defense, and just stick to our game plan, and it worked out.
It seemed like you guys picked up your defensive intensity quite a bit in the second half as well. Is that fair?
Yes.
What do you guys need to do heading into West Virginia, where you're playing the 11th most efficient defense in the country? And you guys have played strong defense all year, but we saw Morehead State, the defense, Wofford, right? Not 40 minutes. What do you guys have to do to come out and play 40 minutes of hedging those balls and really getting up getting up?
We just gotta come out tough and play tough like we can. And we all know West Virginia's really good. We know they're tough. We know they're strong. We know they're big. We're tough. We're strong. We're big too. So it's just time to really buckle down, sit down on defense, get out on the hedges, and just play Richmond basketball.
Anything else, Tyler?
Yeah, Tyler, I'll fire one at you. You guys are a top 20 team right now. Does that make not having any fans in there, like a little bit just, tougher to swallow? Wouldn't it? I mean, would have been great to have, a full crowd tonight cheering on number 19.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, that's what you work for your whole life. You dream of being a top 25 team, playing in a sold out wherever you play. Ours is the Robins Center. So yeah, that definitely hurts. But at the same time, being number 19 doesn't happen to a lot of people as well. So I think we're just taking it like we can and just being grateful for the fact that we can play this year and prove that we are good enough to be in the top 25 and stay in the top 25.
Were you guys more comfortable today playing as a ranked team than you were on Monday? Did you understand it better?
I think when it comes to in between those lines, I think rankings really go out the window. It's just you got to win the game. I think Wofford came in. They didn't care if we were number 19, if we were number 1, if we were unranked. They were going to come in and they were going to play tough. Same with Northern Iowa today. So it was just a game we have to come in, forget about the ranking. It's just a target on our back, really, and just get wins.
Anything else, Tyler? All right, thank you, Tyler.
Appreciate it.
We'll just open it up straight for questions for Coach.
Coach, how much did the absence of AJ Green tonight? Obviously you guys are a team that has a lot of 3-point shooters, but just losing his playmaking and stretching the floor, especially a guy like Bourne, where just 2 of 11 from the field. How much did that hurt your other shooters and take away space?
Yeah, we're working through that. With AJ not a part of the lineup, and then Antoine Kimmons not a part of the lineup as well. And those are our 2 most experienced backcourt guys. And AJ, obviously. As good a player as he is, one of the best guards in the country. And, I've talked about it with our staff quite a bit. And really to your question, not only his shot making, his ability to get his own shot, his ability to make shots and make them, really at any point in that shot clock, really important for our team. But he also has done such a good job because he commands a lot of attention. He gets guys some easier shots, and that's something that he's worked hard at, and he's done a good job of it for us. So that's one of the things that we're going to have to keep working through. I thought Bowen, he's playing against 2 really good guards tonight, and I thought Bowen, for a true freshman, played a very good game tonight. Learned a lot tonight from a couple of senior guards, and he's a shot maker. I don't have any concerns about Bowen making shots. He's a guy he's a shot maker. So I really liked how he played tonight, but there's no question that, we're gonna have to work through this a little bit without AJ.
In the first half, obviously a lot of early Spider turnovers. I believe you guys had about 13 points off turnovers in the first half, off 9 turnovers, just 4 for the Spiders in the second half. What adjustments did you see them make in cleaning up the offense and taking care of the ball?
I felt like our positioning was good in the first half. Our activity was good in the first half. And they got to a couple of different things with their offense. They didn't change anything drastically. But because of the way we were playing and where we were positioned, they were, making reads and just got to some different things. They hurt us on the ball screen coverage. They got some late in the first half. They got some in the second half. There was a couple other things. They just real slight adjustments based on the way we were defending their actions. And we, I knew that would be part of it, with Chris, and then with them having such an experienced team. So that was going to be part of it. We were going to have to play through it.
Ben, do you guys know what AJ's prognosis is yet?
Not yet. We've got quite a bit of information in terms of the injury. The injury is in his hip. Still gathering opinions from some different doctors. Just having a number of people look at the MRI and look at the stuff that we've got, the X-rays, and letting those conversations take place before we make a decision as to what to do.
And you guys made 23 pointers against Western Kentucky, and you made 3 tonight, and 1 was like the last second of the game. How much of that was just an off night for you guys, and how much of that was Richmond's defense?
Yeah, they do a nice job, and they did it again tonight. They do a nice job of getting to you in a hurry. You may feel like you're open, and they close that gap. So that was part of it. And then the other part, I felt like Trey had a couple good looks late in the first half. Bowen had 4 or 5 good looks for him. So we did have some pretty good looks that we didn't make. But again, they close that gap in a hurry, and that does impact the way you play.
Jake, you're playing without AJ, obviously. You have Austin go down early in this game, playing a ranked team on the road. 3-point shots aren't falling. That's a lot of obstacles there. How do you feel your team just kind of managed all those challenges that were thrown at you during this game today?
Yeah, when Austin tweaked that ankle, Nick, we probably thinking the same thing. I don't know how Chris felt like they played in the first half. They did turn it over a little bit. They did miss on some opportunities, but we go into halftime with the lead with Austin tweaking that ankle and us 1 of 11 from 3, and I'm certain that they had some opportunities as well. That they felt like should have been points for them. But man, that's as I mentioned, Trey had some good looks down the stretch of the first half. Bowen had a couple good looks from 3. Those are ones that he's going to make. So to go in at halftime with the lead in our first game against a Division I team without Antoine and without AJ, and then 5 tweaks the ankle early in the half. I really liked how we played in the first half. I felt like they sped us up in the second half, and give them credit for that. And I felt like their experience at the offensive end hurt us as that game went on in the second half. They got to some things offensively that they weren't necessarily getting to in the first half. And that's what you get from an experienced team with that backcourt they've got and the experience they've got. They got to what they needed to in the second half, but it really felt like we played a very good first half, Nick.
How did Taiwan handle that role going back as a reserve coming off the bench? And it looked like he really put together probably his best game of the season there today. What would that say just kind of about his character and what he's been able to provide for your team?
Yeah, and he tweaked his back a little bit on Sunday late in practice, so he did not practice on Monday. And so we had a lineup that we practiced with on Monday, and I didn't want to, with all the moving around we've had, Nick, I didn't want to put him back in there Tuesday. And so we'll see how that plays out in terms of who starts and who doesn't start. He felt like he handled it great. He was really active and stood out in both halves, but in particular in that first half, he got to some offensive rebounds. He went and got to the basketball, got himself to the free throw line. His activity level was really good, and our team needs that.
Anything else for Coach?
Yeah, you went with Cole Henry there for a pretty significant stretch. I didn't see much of Evan. Was that more of a matchup based, or did you kind of like just being able to go a little bit bigger there against this team, or kind of what factors went into play there?
Yeah, Richmond had gotten out and put a little more pressure on us, and when they're smaller at the center position, they put a little more pressure on Fife, and that's an area where Cole can help our team. His ball handling and passing can really help our team if teams want to get up and pressure a little bit more. So that's why we went with him in this one. And I liked the way he played against St. Ambrose, and he didn't play a lot of minutes tonight, Nick, but I liked how he played tonight. I thought he responded well. Gives us a really good, kind of 1-2 punch with him and James on the bench. If the game's more physical and we can get some touches inside, James is going to be a little bit better in that situation. If Cole's able to get wheeling around and just have some space up top, or if he's being pressured up top, he handles it so well and passes it so well, he can help our offense. So we're going to use both those guys.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Yep. Thanks.
Well, it's always, we have tremendous respect for Northern Iowa, and, they've been a good program for a long time when Ben was the assistant there for Greg McDermott. And, I love their style of play. I love, how competitive they are, how they do everything. So we're pleased to have gotten the win tonight, and looking forward to Sunday's game at West Virginia.
Hey, Chris, you could kind of see this coming with Tyler. Did you see it coming? And this is a very active night for him, obviously, his most active as a Spider.
Yeah, I mean, as I've said a couple of times, John, I think he's going to be one of the great Richmond players of all time, and he just can do so many things well. He can score on the post. He's a very good shooter, handles the ball, defends. He's a great rebounder. He just. The play where they switched off and had a smaller player on him, and the guy cut him off, and he made the little foul line turnaround jump shot kind of out of the mid post and got fouled. That's a rare thing for somebody to be able to do, and he does a lot of things. He's active and athletic, an incredible kid. And, he's fortunate to be playing with this group, because there are plenty of teams around the country. He'd be the best player as a sophomore. And so for him to be playing with this group, he's lucky, and those guys are pretty fortunate to have him also.
How much does his, ability to not only knock down threes and stretch the floor, but even off the dribble, creating his own shots, particularly in Nick's absence, how much does that kind of make up for it and mitigate what you're losing out of a guy like that?
Yeah, for sure. I think, we're devastated to lose Nick, and, there hasn't been one possession where Nick wouldn't have helped us so far. So, the only positive that could come out of it is Tyler playing more. And we were talking about, I was talking with Nick actually in the off season, that we would play Nick a little bit more at what we call our center position. So that's because Tyler was going to need to be in the game. And so, he played his most minutes tonight, and it was great. He's a good defender. He's athletic. Has a nose for the ball, of course, and the shooting is really impressive and really important.
Chris, you got some more good minutes out of Sal tonight, second game in a row, and I know you talked about last time how you needed to play more in the previous game, but particularly tonight, you guys have talked about using him more at the wing this year. He looks a little bit quicker. Tonight seemed like he came in more a little bit at the 5, had some more minutes than Matt and for Grant. Do you see maybe him playing more the 5 this year? Or are we going to kind of see him go back and forth wing 5 based on matchup?
Yeah, I think it'll be a little bit more. I think it'll be a little bit more by situation. He's comfortable doing both. He's played both. He was a huge asset for us tonight. I mean, the spark that he gave, I'd say Sal, and then the ball that Blake saved in the corner, where kind of guys had stopped going after the ball because it was so far. Those two plays were really, really big for us. It's just Sal being able to pressure their bigger guy, when he was on the perimeter, because they do so much with their perimeter man outside. But he was great. He was very good in the last game, and that's very important for us because he can really help us, and he showed tonight how valuable he is.
Hey, Chris, did you see any difference in the way your guys approached it as a ranked team today? I mean, they talked about Monday having to understand the target and all that stuff.
Yeah, a little bit. We're in the midst of finals, pretty challenging, as John and Noah could attest to here, and so that's tough. I think the Wofford game, that was really as difficult or challenging a situation as we've been in to be, not do anything for 5 days and then play after one day. So I think, then to come back on one more day of prep and play a really good team, a great program is good. I think the ranking, I know everything matters, but I feel like the circumstances surrounding, especially Wofford and then the two games together was more of a challenge than playing with the ranking. So hopefully we'll get more comfortable with it and have the opportunity to continue to play with it.
Chris, what was the biggest message at halftime? Was it really about turnovers, as Tyler said, or it seemed like, I know it's more complicated than just flipping a switch, but the second half was much different.
Yeah, well, I thought the last 3.5 minutes of the first half, I think we cut the lead from 10 down to 2. I thought that was really critical for us. We played a little bit with a little bit more urgency. We were assertive, and then the second half. But we rarely have, we had 9 turnovers last game. That's much more of how we play. We had 9 turnovers in the first half. That's really a rare number for us and pretty unacceptable. So, but it was more, I think, just the energy and aggressiveness. I thought in the second half, I don't know how many offensive rebounds. I don't know if they got an offensive rebound in the second half. I think they had 7 offensive rebounds at halftime and finished with that. So that was really important. I thought Nate, Grant, Tyler, in terms of rebounding, and then of course, Jacob, a couple of magical steals too, really helps throw their rhythm off. And then Sal's contribution, I think, really helped with that.
Your defensive intensity seemed to pick up significantly in the second half as well. Did you see it that way?
I really did. And I think, that's a tough team to defend. They're all guys who can shoot. They it's not a scripted pattern. It's more, they see how the defense plays you. They throw passes at the right times. Their big guy is involved on the perimeter and then rolling. So that puts a lot of pressure on your defender. But our defensive intensity did pick up. We knew they would give up. We knew they would get points because they're a good team and they're great at what they do. We just wanted to, for the 40 minutes, make it that each time they shot, it was with a hand in their face and try to, as consistently as possible, make it a challenge for them.
Coach Mooney, the Spiders won at Kentucky. I wonder if that plays into your message as you go to Morgantown on Sunday. Hey, we've done this against this sort of athlete previously.
Yeah, I probably so, John. We'll certainly talk about that. I haven't seen West Virginia play yet. I think I can probably have a pretty good idea of how they play and what they're great at. But yeah, I do think that our confidence is good and steady. I feel like we're not very high and low, even in the course of a game if things aren't going well. I feel like our confidence is there, which is a bonus of being an older team. But yeah, I think that we'll touch on that and. Hopefully we'll go out there and compete. I'm sure they're a great rebounding team and a very physical team that gives everybody problems. Hopefully we'll be able to compete and do the things we do well.
Hey, Coach.
Yeah, go ahead, Mark.
When you guys are, I would imagine there's a disappointment level here, being ranked number 19 and having an empty building. I know that you touched on the fans a little bit on Monday, but is this the time where you'd really love to kind of share this experience with your fans?
Yes, that's a great point. It is what it is, of course. And, we need to play and compete and have our own energy. But yeah, that's what I do feel bad about, just having a big crowd to, the plays that are exciting, the Jacob plays and then, our crowd's so familiar with Jacob, they can sense something's coming. That's really exciting. And knowing this team so well, because these guys are such veteran players and they've been playing for so long, urging and cheering on a younger player who they like, all of those things that you have at a program like ours. I do miss that. And I'm really sorry we don't have that to share with our fans in person.
Chris, you guys have been without Connor here through the first 4 games so far. Hope to have him back to start, and it's kind of been game by game. Is there any sense, 3 days off before Sunday, any sense that he may be able to suit up against West Virginia?
Yeah, so our trainer is one of the guys in quarantine, so we'll be able to talk a little bit more tomorrow to him. But yeah, I think he's getting close. He has practiced more and more, a greater percentage of the practice in the last week, to the part where he's close to being in the entire practice. Once he's demonstrated that ability in the entire practice, he'll be close to going to the game. So I feel like it's close. I think he's a guy who can really help us, and I think he has a chance to be a really good player.
Anything else for Coach?
Great. Thank you, guys.